Hello, my name is Sean Wren and welcome to the Movie Fancast. 2 weeks ago, The Hollywood Reporter revealed Disney are working with Margot Robbie on a spin-off Pirates movie. So on this week's episode, myself and the returning Clarisse Loughrey discuss what the story should be and who should be in it. Once again, I had a ball talking to Clarisse and I hope you enjoy watching it. So Clarisse, welcome back. It was so much sooner than I had even anticipated, but this news with Margot Robbie came out last week, and you're literally the first person that I wanted to, your only person that I wanted to talk to you about. Your vast knowledge of the Disney around, Disney parks and whatnot. So I hope. So welcome back, and welcome to the Bear Cave.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm here. Yeah, thank you for acknowledging me as a world-leading expert on movie adaptations of Disney theme park rides.
So I'm going to do this a little bit differently to how the last time we talked. So we're going to be co-producers on this.
Amazing. Okay.
We've really got our star lead in Margot Robbie.
Yes.
And we got our writer in Christina Hudson, who I love.
Love her.
And because I love Birds of Prey, so that's fine. So let's talk about what would be your story for this Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay, so I have to kind of reveal a little bit of who my cast is by explaining this story. I basically, this is lazy, but I just want to do Birds of Prey, but it's Birds of Prey, but it's pirates. And what I would love to happen is for them. Do you remember in Curse of the Black Pearl, the character that Zoe Saldana played, Anna Maria, who was there for like 3 minutes and then we never saw her again. So she's coming back, because I feel like that's such a waste to put Zoe Saldana in your movie and then just like never use her again. So I would have her come back and she'd be kind of our entry point into the story. She has left Jack Sparrow's crew and she wants to forge her own path. She wants to become her own captain. And then she would, on this journey, meet just like a bunch of like really cool female pirates from across the world. And the sort of theme of it would be, because what I actually really like about the Pirates of the Caribbean movies is that, especially when you're sort of getting to the third movie, it's sort of ignoring 4 and 5, but they do kind of create this idea. I like the idea that the way to make pirates cool and to make pirates kind of seem like the heroes is to present them as like anti-colonial forces. So that I like that the bad guys were the East India Company. So I'd want to bring that back. So it would be like a bunch of female pirates from across the world all coming together to say like F you to the British Empire. Okay, no, I won't say any more, because I think if there's another bit to the plot, but it would be revealing too many of my characters. So
is Saldana in your version the lead, or a co-lead with Margot? At the moment, is it like Margot Robbie's spin-off?
This is the thing. I feel like we don't have too much choice, because they have literally launched this project as like a Margot Robbie project. But that's the cool thing about Birds of Prey was that, yeah, Harley Quinn was the lead, but I don't feel like she was ever stealing the limelight from the other characters. Like, that movie to me really feels like an ensemble piece. So I think it would be kind of like that. I think we would start the story off with Anna Maria. And she would be kind of like in my Haunted Mansion movie, the part that Ryan Gosling played. He, sort of like the entry point into this world, and we'd follow her. But then we'd learn about all these other different pirates, and we'd really see their backstories and get to know them, so they can become like our best buddies, our BFFs, pirate BFFs.
Oh, you've done much more. I went with the history side of things, so to make it a proper spin-off with no connection to the actual Pirates movie, but I think your one works better. But there's a pirate called Grace O'Malley, and she was part of a wealthy family, and then she took over the family empire and became a pirate herself, and she looted British and Spanish ships, and she even met Queen Elizabeth and stuff like that. So this my only worry is if Margot could do an Irish accent at this moment in time, and so it'll be So Grace O'Malley has been stealing from both the British and Spanish naval fleets, and both naval fleets have to come together to take on O'Malley and her 20 sheep fleet. But I think that your way's much better, or we amalgamated two, because I do think that you can launch a new character. But my worry is I don't know if Margot Robbie could do an Irish accent, a convincing Irish accent.
Well, she's also Irish, and so this is the thing. I wasn't revealing it, but all the rest of my characters would be based on real historical figures. I don't know if they would be the literal, because I have paid no attention to dates here. So...
Like Margot Robbie, I looked into like famous Australian pirates, and there was a woman called Charlotte Tilbury, and I thought I'll go with that way. And then she's been dealing with like another famous pirate who joined Blackbeard's crew, so that would have been he was called Black Caesar, and then joined Blackbeard, and then we could have had that connection with bringing Ian McShane back in and whatnot. But okay, so what was your historical characters that you were looking into?
Okay, so the sort of like inciting event for this would be the capture of Anne Bonny, Mary Read, and Calico Jack Rackham. So they were the three pirates they were Pirates of the Caribbean. They were literally Pirates of the Caribbean. And what happened is that Calico Jack was executed, but both Anne and Mary their sentences were delayed because they were found to be pregnant at the time. But in my version, they lie about it. Yes, they pretend to be pregnant, and then they make a daring escape together. And also, it's going to be a love story. I've decided that Anne Bonny and Mary Read are going to fall in love, and it's going to be really, really cute. And so they're going to make this daring escape, and then they cross paths with Anna Maria, and then they sort of team together, and then they go off to meet the other vaguely historical characters, but like the dates here are so effed up because I'm really lazy in my research.
I'm going to go with your version. It's so much better. It connects to the wider world of pirates, yet you bring in the historical sense. So let's go with your story, because I do think it's just superior. Yay. And plus, I was looking into, those two pirates as well, and I, even when reading it, it kind of sounded like they could have been, well, partners. Quite simply, they could have easily been a couple in there. I mean, yeah, they both. I think Reed lied about being pregnant and then died in prison, if I remember rightly. But I think there was, I feel like because they both came up the same way, they both dressed up as men to be on like pirate gangs, and so I think
because this is the thing. Like, I mean, there's some discussion that maybe they were trans, or that there's definitely like some idea of like gender fluidity here, at least here. So I think that would be really an interesting I don't know, it'd be interesting to explore that as well, like because I guess we don't really know, like they could have dressed as men and identified as women but dressed as men because they knew it was the only way to get by, or maybe they did identify as men, and I think the screenplay could kind of play with that a little bit. It'd be really interesting to just, I don't know,
right,
do something a bit more radical. Come on, Hollywood.
I'm just put my foot down. We're going to go with your story, and now with the budget, because I was looking into previous budgets of pirates movies, and there, apart from the first one, which was 140, the rest of them have been 200 to 300 mil, and I don't think Disney will make. I'm going to say not say make that mistake again, but the sense that they won't give a movie that much of a profit, that much of a budget. So I went with 150.
That sounds fair.
I think that's a fair amount that it's still big money, but yet they're able to recoup that in the summer blockbuster.
Yeah, you don't need like a giant crab woman in this movie. We're not going too crazy. No one's visiting the underworld, and there's no like shark people or anything.
And plus, it's PG-13, so you're going to get all the families coming in. So I'm trying to build this off the third, probably similar to you, make it as much as the first movie then humanly possible. Because like, in my mind, the first movie is like the best action adventure movie of the modern era.
Oh.
I love the first movie. I do think
it is really good.
Movies like action adventure movies of old. So I'm trying to keep spirit. So who have you got in mind for the director? Because I've got 3.
I was really lazy and I just said Kathy Yan because I love her so much. Like, I'm obsessed with her and I want her to direct every movie. So just give it to Kathy. Like, we know she'll nail it because she's Kathy Yan and we love her.
Yeah. I got Kathy first because the same of you. I love Birds of Prey, and plus the fact that they're working relationship already with Margot. And
yeah, like they all know each other. They can they know how to make a great movie. So like, let's not F about here. Just give it to them.
Can I just say for my other 2, since we're going to go concrete with Kathy, is that I had Reed Morano, who did the Villain section.
Good. Yeah.
Section. I'm the only person who did.
I didn't see it. They didn't really show it to critics, and
so I went with that with the action style, and Nikki Kuro, who was Mulan director. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yes. I may have seen Mulan and it's very good and I'm not allowed to say anymore, but she would be good.
Family, and she's already done a big epic, but right. So we're going with Kathy. Who is Margot playing first for you? Because she would have been Grace O'Malley for me.
Margot, we're gonna try an Irish accent. But I think she could do it because I think like linguistically Australian and Irish kind of historically stem from the same place. So I believe in her. I believe that she can do it. So yeah, she's going to play Anne Bonny. And so yeah, we see a little bit of her growing up in Ireland, and then so she moved to America, married a sailor, and then they both went to the Bahamas, and then she was like, ugh, no, I'm bored of this guy. And she went off with Calico Jack, who I'm going to pick Joe Alwyn, because he was apparently quite like flamboyant, and I really liked him in The Favorite, so I feel like he could nail that part of just being like amazing dresser. Amazing style.
Okay, so for the 2, I had to have 2 crew members who are both right hand and left hand women. I went with Diane Guerrero, who's in Doom Patrol, and she's literally in Doom Patrol, and I love her. And with the Spanish, I think she's Portuguese or Spanish heritage, so I thought having her as sort of like the woman in the know of the Spanish naval fleet. And then I went with Jess Buckley.
Yes.
For one reason, and I think you might guess what character I might have her play, in the sense that I think instead of Karen Gillan, she could be Red.
Yes.
And then
because are they still doing the Karen Gillan one?
I think they'll probably will. I wouldn't be surprised if. Well, they're saying they're still doing the main film. This is just a spin-off that's not connected.
Right.
If you could connect it in a sense, I would have Jess Buckley, but as so something good happens to O'Malley, and then Red again probably sneaks off from prison and whatnot, and then meets Jack Sparrow in the bigger movie. But you have Jess Buckley already imprinted in the spin-off.
Right, that's like a Marvel move, like introduce them in the spin-off and then they come in the main movie. I could see that. She'd be a good Red. She could do, "We wants to run." Yeah. That's what she says in the ride.
I don't know a lot about Red, about the character of Red in the ride itself. So
it's she's got an interesting history because she started off in Pirates of the Caribbean was for many years a pretty like problematic ride because a lot of the storyline revolved around, you know, pirates plundering and selling off women and chasing women through the city. So they have slowly over the years like changed the animatronic, so it's like now the women are chasing the men. And there was this bride auction scene, which is like pretty horrific if you think about it. And the main figure was the redhead, who was this like, you know, beautiful, like, you know, cleavage out like that woman. And all the pirates are like, we want the redhead. So now thankfully they've changed it, so Red is now a female pirate, and the auction is selling off rum and chickens. So a little bit less horrific. Yeah, so she stands there. I think she's got rum in her hand. She's like, "Wait, what's the rum?" Because she's like, "I don't want those chickens. Give us the rum."
Right. Okay.
Sorry, there's not like a huge amount of backstory to her, so I feel like any movie that does include Red will pretty much be able to do whatever they want. Or maybe all they need is for her to not like chickens and love rum. They'll be good.
Right. Okay. So who had you got for the main villain?
Look, both Hamilton and Frozen 2 are coming on Disney Plus today, so I have Jonathan Groff on my mind, and we're putting Jonathan Groff for this movie. I'm sorry. I love him, and obviously in Hamilton he's so great at playing a creepy Englishman, so he just do that, but for our movie.
So, I had as the British, who's the leader of the British naval fleet, was Hugh McGregor, and basically I just want him to be Black Mass again.
Yes.
Hang it up his back and just but in a naval British uniform.
Ew.
Well, obviously without the whole like incredibly horrific scene in the nightclub, but he's still incredibly camp and
Yeah.
and just hamming it up megally.
Just give Ian McGregor all the roles,
so
all the parts.
So who have you got for the who else have you got for the cast?
Okay, so for Mary Read, I went with Alicia Vikander because I like her a lot, and I also would want her to be as buff as she was in Tomb Raider because I thought that was so cool. Like, I don't know, she just really looked cool in that movie. And yeah, and she had kind of a similar story to Anne Bonny. So she disguised herself as a boy, A, so she could get her inheritance money, and B, so she could join the British military. And then she married, and then her husband died, and then she moved to the West Indies, and there she met Calico Jack. That's pretty much her story.
Okay. And for me, I had Antonio Banderas leading the Spanish naval fleet.
Oh yeah, why hasn't he been in a Pirates of the Caribbean movie?
I thought I'm sure he has been like in a couple of recent ones, but no, he hasn't. So I thought Antonio Banderas, and then for Amali's parents, I went with Michael Smiley. There's only because the parents small roles, so with Michael Smiley and Yasmin Enkram, who had a brief role in Sherlock.
Oh, I didn't watch Sherlock. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. It's like I was just trying to find Irish people to think. I was like, I don't want too big of a name because then you go, why if you kill her off? So I thought I'll go with Michael Smiley because he's well known and it's only a small.
Yeah.
And then
Are we not putting Saoirse? We're leaving Saoirse out on a limb.
I leave Saoirse. If it was a possibility, have Margot producing this and have Saoirse. No.
To be fair, Saoirse like doesn't read pirate to me.
Nah.
She'd probably be like, "Please give us your stuff, pretty please." I'm asking politely.
So, have you got an idea for the crew that Sedana puts together?
Oh, I didn't really like, they're just like background people. But I did, so the other two people that I cast were the other pirates they would meet on their kind of journey around the world. Um, and one of them would be played by Sofia Boutella, and she would be inspired by Saida Al Hura, who was the queen. I'm really sorry if I'm mispronouncing things. The queen of Tetuan in the 16th century. So different time period. We were gonna fudge it, but she was cool. She was a pirate queen, and as a child she was forced to flee Morocco when Castile and Aragon invaded and conquered Granada. And so she was like, I'm gonna take revenge against the Christian invaders, and that's why she turned to piracy. So it was this whole like sort of revenge mission of like, yeah, take that, Christians. And so I love that storyline, and I feel like it would work, like, fudge the history, make it work so that it's like it's more of an anti-colonial stance. I mean, this movie's gonna get butchered by the historians, but like, when has Pirates of the Caribbean ever been accurate? So and then my other character, played by Maggie Chung, is Zheng Yatso, who was a former sex worker in China who married a powerful corsair named Cheng in 1801. And together they like built this giant pirate army, and they had hundreds of ships. And then the husband died and she rose to power, and she was just like super powerful and cool.
Oh, her as well, and I was thinking more of as her as a villain, just because of like,
oh yeah,
just because I just think that character. I mean, the character, when reading about her, was what this character could be in such a like great villain in this. If you really wanted to go with the whole girl gang and whatnot, vibe, and just have her just say, no, I'm doing it by myself, turn it around saying, I killed my husband because I wanted to have this empire, this empire for myself and stuff like that.
yeah, like I imagined her. Well, what was interesting about her is that she had this very, very strict moral code,
Yeah.
and so she was very about rules. So I kind of imagine her as the like, the one who, because I think that would be a good contrast with the Saida character. So you have like, she's kind of the more rebellious one because she's all about revenge and like, yeah, and then you have a character who's more sort of tactical and more about, she's very sort of territory minded, so she's thinking very carefully about how can I acquire power. So there can be a little bit of like distrust between all this is just birds of prey. A little bit of distrust between all the pirate queens, but they'd all work it out in the end, and then they go kick Jonathan Groff's butt, and we'd all go, yeah.
So I was just thinking when you're talking, could this be the um, Rosa Rosie Perez role, in the sense that she's more of a mentor to the other pirates, and that she's the more senior figure, where she says, have a code that we don't kill unless such and such and whatnot.
Yeah, or I guess I kind of imagined her as like, because she's like, so she would be so powerful. I mean, I know that we have like a literal queen on our team, but maybe we would change that character a little bit so they're not as powerful. So I think Zheng would be like the really powerful pirate that they all have to, maybe she's the last one they meet, and they all have to go and kind of like be like, hey, please don't kill us, but would you like to go fight the British because they suck? So and then so maybe she'd be like, they'd kind of have to win her over a little bit, and at first she would seem like a threat, but then they would discover that in fact they have a lot in common, and they would be great, and they'd be friends, and it'd be really nice.
So for like crew members, and this was just like I thought for O'Malley's crew, but it could work for the British crew as well. I worked with Adewale, and I can't pronounce his two names, but he was Killer Croc in Suicide Squad, and he's director of Farming as well.
Yeah.
And then I had Nick Frost, because I feel like the Pirates movies always had like a British comedian, like comic actor. So Nick, second mate or whatever of the British naval fleet. And then I had like Chris O'Dowd, Dara Brian, and then Jessica Henwick, who was in I thought a pirate and be in the crew, and because I think she's amazing, and she's in she was in what was it, Iron Fist, and she had a little role in Star Wars. So that was my idea for that could be moved into the British fleet. I mean, it doesn't, as you said, like the British side of things, they don't need to have a lot of big side characters. It could just be little known comedic actors, and just show make the British look even worse.
Yeah, I didn't put any comedians in mine. I didn't put any funny characters in mine. I feel like I kind of missed the point of Pirates of the Caribbean, that it's meant to be fun. But yeah, that is good.
So have you had any ideas for music for the score? Because the Pirates of the Caribbean theme is Hans Zimmer's music for Pirates of the Caribbean is as important as probably the movie itself. And the theme is massive. So I had two people for the music. I had Daniel Pemberton, who was just on Bird, and I think he's done two of my favourite DC themes, in the fact of Huntress's theme and Harley Quinn's theme when she goes like with the riff guitar. I think that's one of my favourites. So I went with Daniel Pemberton.
That's good.
And plus with Spider-Verse as well, he did an amazing job on Spider-Verse. And then I don't know how to pronounce his name properly, but Lawrence Booth, who was Lego Batman, he did the composing of Lego and Mission Impossible, and I describe him as he's part of the Hans Zimmer School of Music, because he came.
Yeah, I didn't really think about music because I just in my heart know that they're gonna use Hans Zimmer again, so it's like no point fighting it. Or they'll get like Michael Giacchino, who's like the guy they get when they can't get Hans Zimmer.
Right, I'm gonna put my foot down on this. I'm gonna say because then it keeps with the Birds of Prey theme that we've already established in this movie. Now there's a Birds of Prey thing.
Let's do that.
So
I agree.
I believe we have just made Margot Robbie's job and Disney's job a hell of a lot easier.
We just made Margot Robbie so much money.
When you're doing this, you have in mind for like sequels for the spin-off, because if you're saying Anne Reid and Bonnie both escape, could they become part of the lore that may pop up in their own little movie or part of Pirates itself? See, because I thought of this because in my head this spin-off was literally just a one-off, but yet with Red you had that connective tissue to possibly.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'd have to see how well it does at the box office. Yeah, but I guess like you're bringing in all these new characters, so you would see like who the audience likes, and then just give that character a spin-off, and then give a character in that movie their own spin-off, and then it's just like infinite spin-offs until the point that the Earth explodes. So that would be my plan.
And quite importantly, because on the ride side, how long would it take for these characters to appear on the Disney rides?
That's interesting.
Because I don't know how long it is until they, do they have to start again, as you said, like the popularity of the film and going, right, we've got blah 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 as we're bringing these characters in to extend the universe or Pirates.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it costs like millions of dollars even just to put in like one animatronic. So I would imagine that Disney would not. I mean, let's think about how long it took for them to decide they were going to change Splash Mountain. Like they don't, they don't like to spend money unless they really have to. Um, so yeah, I would imagine. Also, I don't know necessarily because the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, the original one, has such a set storyline. Um, and so they've put the Jack Sparrow animatronics in that, and it's sort of become a Jack Sparrow centric storyline. And I don't know if you could necessarily just take him out and like, you know, pop Margot Robbie in
No,
and just do the same storyline. Yeah.
or the fact that would, you know, adding them to the bigger story, so that in their like little world that Jack Sparrow would meet these female pirates. And
Yeah. I'm trying to think how it would work. Well, they over the years have done these like minor changes. Like they have different projections. Like you go through a waterfall and they had like a projection of Davy Jones or Blackbeard. So you could change those projections and put like a villain from this movie. Um, and yeah, maybe you could have like a line of dialogue on the ride that is referencing Anne Bonny, or maybe you could put Anna Maria. I would imagine she would maybe fit, because we could pretend that the Pirates of the Caribbean ride takes place while she was still on Jack's crew.
Yeah,
Just because it's like it's not like a giant ride. You know, it'd be quite hard to like. I think you would, if you wanted to add stuff in there, you would have to take the Jack Sparrow stuff out, which might be Disney's like long-term game plan, is to have a new Pirates of the Caribbean movie that's so successful that they can just kind of like discard of the old movies and do a fully like Margot Robbie centric Pirates of the Caribbean, right? So I guess that could work. I mean, you could like gut the place and just start over. I don't think Disney fans would be happy with that, but
well,
you could do it.
sounds like, no, we should
Yeah.
miss out on what we're doing. Yes.
Well, there's that quote where Walt Disney said, "Oh, what Disneyland's never finished" or something. So it's always been the defense, is that you can change whatever you want. But I think that I think they should keep most of it. I think they've done a good job of taking out the not so cool bits of Pirates of the Caribbean and just making it like more cool. I think there's still some stuff. This is an entirely separate discussion. There's still stuff in that ride that they really need to change. And I don't know if just like bunging in a bunch of new animatronics and new characters is necessarily going to fix the issues there. But I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see how well the movie does, and then we can have that discussion.
So there you go. That was Margot Robbie's Pirates of the Caribbean. And
Yay.
and this is, as you said, we're going to make so much money in the summer because of this, because it's going to be bang square in the middle of the summer season of 2022. And yeah, and then you know, Margot can do being Harley Quinn again, and then do what?
Yeah, and then we have the Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn, Pirates of the Caribbean crossover, where a time portal opens up, and Harley Quinn is thrown from Gotham into 17th century pirate or 18th century pirate shenanigans. That would be fun, right?
Oh, I'm in already. Right, so thank you, Clarisse. That was wonderful.
Oh, thank you for inviting me on to just talk about Disney ride nonsense again.
I very much enjoyed it, and as I said, like when this news came out on Friday, you were literally like, "I have ideas." This was.
I have ideas. But I just should say that the Haunted Mansion movie needs to come out first.
Yes.
we prioritize that, and then we work on this Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
This was based on the fact that the Haunted Mansion was a massive success.
Yes, and I am now the new Kathleen Kennedy. So I have the power to make this happen.
And then I'm just your lackey.
No, you're an integral part of the creative, and then you become the new Kathleen Kennedy. I pass on the Kathleen Kennedy baton to you.
Oh, yeah. I'll probably have you on again when there's some sort of Disney ride news or...
Yeah, when the Space Mountain movie gets announced.
You'll be the first person in contact again.
Yeah.
So thank you again, Clarisse, and see you again next time.
Bye.
Thank you once again, Clarisse, for coming on board and discussing pirates and to give a lowdown on how things work on the Disney Park side of things. Hope you enjoyed watching. You can follow Clarisse in the description below, and there are links to the previous episodes. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_Wren, that is SHAUN_WREN. And check out the Bear Cave for more film news and reviews. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.